AJ, I hope you've brewed your coffee. I hope you're ready to go. I hope you've got your slippers on and a fire going. Because it's time to talk more about PlayStation VR 2. Are you ready?
Man, I don't need coffee. I'm still running on pure adrenaline.
Did you sleep okay last night?
I could not sleep last night. I stayed up till like 4 o'clock. And then I woke up actually because somebody like knocked on my door, and it was the construction company, and they were like, "You're gonna not have power for like an hour." And I was like, okay.
No power for an hour.
Yeah, no power for an hour. But that's okay because it doesn't matter. Everything in the world is awesome, and there's harmony and prosperity across the lands. And I am excited. Let's start the show. Let's do this.
Everything's coming up, Millhouse. This is PSVR GamesCast Live, where we film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and occasionally Tuesday night at some random time when something special happens. My name is Brian Paul from this channel right here, PSVR Without Parole, and this guy over here, my hetero life mate, AJ from the Underground, PSVR Underground.
What is up, Brian? What is up, Game Cats? Happy Wednesday. Happy Hump Day. Let's go. Hope you're ready.
Tornado showed up for Hump Day. Hey,
to
Tornado.
hump you full of all the PSVR news and PSVR2 news, officially PSVR2 news that you can handle. Just get ready.
I'm excited. And if you don't like hanging out and watching us live here on YouTube, which you are doing right now, unless you're watching it later and then it's not live at all, you should head on over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify or other podcast services of your choice and listen to our podcast, PSVR Gamescast Live, over there at your leisure. I did want to give a quick note before we get started because, dude, the Patreon scroll is out of date. I apologize if you're a new Patreon supporter from last month or earlier this month. I meant to get that thing updated. It's usually the first of every month. It's for, I believe it's for $3 and more. You get your name on that list, and you get and you get access to voice chat over on Discord. But everyone is welcome on Discord. So make sure you click that link in the description below and join us over there. That's where this conversation and conversations like it happen 24/7. AJ.
Yo.
Before we get the show started, let's take care of a couple tips. I want to say hi to our newest Patreon member, Emily Baxter. Hashtag the cartoony witch game kit and rare with the $5 tip says, since joining Patreon, I couldn't buy Space Explorer. Thank God. Let's get AJ hired, cats. Cartoony games
You're welcome for that. You know, I was talking with my girlfriend. I was trying to tell her, I'm like, she's got all these great games that she needs to play, and she's like asking me, I'm like telling her how great some of these are, that, you know, you really need to do this. And she's like, how's Space Explorer? And I'm like, what? Why does this? She's like, I'm so curious. And I'm like, just don't. And she's like, it has a demo. And I'm like, don't do this. And she's like, I'm gonna download the demo.
You've done everything wrong.
And then she played it, and then she talked about it for like the next day. She's like, it was so terrible. I'm like, I know. I was trying to tell you. Yeah. You know, curiosity killed the cat. So just be careful. Just remember that. Right? Don't be too curious out there, guys.
Be curious, but, you know, use us as a guide. We will hold your paw and we'll take you through the darkness. We will be your guides. We also got Looper, the Underground Game Cat, with the €5 says, sorry I missed the interactive chat, AJ. Please stream a full playthrough of Skyrim. Wow.
In one sitting?
It's going to cost more than €5 to do that. Oh, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, all in one sitting.
I have a playlist on my channel. Good times.
Guys, if you missed AJ's interactive chat from earlier today, don't forget that AJ has his own channel, PSVR Underground. There's a link for that in the description below, so make sure you click over there and subscribe to him because he'll keep you entertained when I'm busy doing.
And while you're here, subscribe to this channel, PSVR Without Parole, the mothership, the mothership of PSVR.
Overrated.
The future of YouTube gaming channels
Oh,
right
I'm
here.
so sorry, future. I apologize ahead of time. We also got Billy Goat Catfish with the Australian $15 that says "Yeehaw." I hope I said that
Yeehaw, Billy!
the way he would have liked that.
I need to play. He made this incredible thing in Minecraft. It's like some Minecraft Skyrim.
GameCat Skyrim
I want to
Minecraft.
go
It's like
GameCat Skyrim
fusion.
Craft. Yeah, I can't wait to go check that out. It looks really good.
It does look really good. Thank you so much, Billy Goat, for your continued support. We also got Bell Ramio, the GameCat, with the €10 says, my hype level for PSVR is only surpassed by Zenith hype level because Zenith will come sooner and carry us over to comic, cartoon, RPG, AAA, VR games.
Zenith's going to be a big deal. We'll be able to stream the second beta, so look forward to that.
Ooh, I'm excited. We also got Darth Vader, the GameCat, just before we get the show really on going here. Sorry, sirens, I think, on my end. Unless they're on your end, and that's what I hear. I have no idea.
No, they're always on your end.
That's true. Darth Vader, the GameCat, with the $10 tip says PSVR2 is blowing up everywhere. It's trending all over Twitter in so many new articles. This is just the beginning, just the tip of the iceberg. Thank you so much for your
It is true.
tip.
It is true. We if you think about it, we really didn't get like a whole lot, but it's just such a, I think just the delivery and the specificity of the news is amazing.
Specificity.
Specificity. Specificity.
Is that a word? Did I add an extra syllable? I don't know. Specificity.
Specificity.
I don't know, officer.
I missed one there. You got it. You got it. You had my back.
Every time I try to accidentally say ossifer, I always say it correctly. I always say officer. I'm like, oh, sorry, officer. And then I was like, wait a minute, that's fucking right. Not anyway. Dude, so last night, one of the many things that we talked about was the brand new reveal of a new Horizon game. Horizon, I'm going to get this right off the top of my head, Call of the Mountain. Yeah?
Yes.
Right?
That's
Nice.
right.
And I mean, and there were certainly some different comments about it. People saying that it looks amazing and they're so excited. They can't wait to play a Horizon game in VR. And it is, for anybody unaware, it is a PSVR2 exclusive. It is not also a flat screen. This gets built up from the ground up for VR. And there's been an interesting discourse about it. And I'm going to kick off this conversation with a comment from Plasmic H, who writes,
Ew.
I appreciate Brian's skepticism on the Horizon game because I have the same thoughts. And if you weren't here last night when we were talking about it, I was a little concerned. I said, we'd seen screenshots that were on the raft, and now we've got this short little, super tiny, like 10, 15 seconds.
Trying to ruin the moment. Yes, you too. Yes.
Yeah. And yes, it looks beautiful, but like, what kind of game is it going to be? And like, so I, just getting a little bit skeptical and just trying to keep expectations in the right place. I was like, is it possible that it could possibly be like a rail shooter? You're just going down a raft the whole time. It's like Fable: The Journey or Until Dawn: Rush of Blood. And it really, really doesn't seem like that's going to be the case, does it, AJ?
No. I do agree, though, that it is best to always temper expectations, and especially with so little. But they could have shown us a logo, and I would have been a little bit more worried. And I get that this wasn't like an in-depth presentation of some gameplay, but I think this was more about announcing PSVR 2 and being a teaser. Now, once we start to see gameplay, then I'll start to judge. And of course, once we play it, or once we find out how long the game is, then we'll have a little bit more to go off of. But I think it's too early to tell, to judge so harshly. I think it's too early to be able to just jump to conclusions like that.
Well, Reynaldo Luna Jr. also commented on that video and said, hopefully it starts off as a rail shooter, you go down the raft, and becomes an open world just to ease you into the environment. And immediately I thought, Skyrim. This is how Skyrim starts off, right? You're sitting in the back of a cart. This is how the beginning of Golem starts off. You're sitting in the back of a cart, and you get to go, oh, wow, this place is beautiful. Like, look, it eases you into the game.
Right.
And maybe you answer some questions about yourself, some character creation screens. And then eventually you get full control of your character. So I thought,
I don't even know. I don't even know if starting as a rail shooter is a good idea. Just starting as an intro, like you said, like Skyrim. Like Skyrim's not a rail shooter when it starts. It's just setting up the story. And I think when you're setting up a story, when you're letting people see this world for the first time from a new way, from inside the game, especially a world as like beautiful as Horizon, I think it's okay to do the little Skyrim intro style thing, and especially with what they showed in this. I mean, that's the vibes I'm getting. But like I said, I have nothing against people not like people wanting to have accurate information about what the game is going to be.
Yeah.
But I don't think that was again the intention of what they showed last night. And
No.
it's not like you're in danger of buying it right now anyway. So I was just in very much a celebration mode. And I still am. I still am.
Absolutely. Like, I was saying last night and all day today, like, it doesn't matter what it turns out to be. Like, I'm super excited to see whatever it is and whatever they have for us. But then Chris James, who was a Horizon Forbidden West developer at Signet on Twitter, tweeted about this Call of the Mountain project and says, "This has been in the works for a while. I didn't work on it, but I promise you this will change what AAA means for VR. It's amazing." Now,
yeah, that's a bold statement.
it's an incredibly bold statement because, so far up until this point, like, what did we consider AAA games? Blood and Truth?
Yeah, like Blood and Truth, Resident Evil 7, maybe Astrobot, No Man's Sky.
Super few and far between. And any time we said something like, Blood and Truth, it would be kind of like be an asterisk after it, right? It would be like AAA for VR, right?
Right.
Because if you picture those exact same games on a flat screen, you're like, oh, this is a super polished, maybe single A title, maybe indie title, depending on like what your definitions are for those games, right? I mean, depending on which game we're talking about. I always poke fun at Tiff and say, oh, Skydance is such an indie team making Saints and Sinners.
I didn't want to bring in like Mario to this, but I remember playing like Super Mario 3D World, and I don't think it took me very long to beat it or anything. And I don't know if that's considered AAA or just first party, but
especially when it comes to platformers, right? It was you or one of the cats asked me, could you ever consider a 3D platformer, a 3D third-person platformer, a AAA game? And I was like, that's an excellent question. I mean, I don't know what it would have to be for me to consider it that.
Why not? It's incredibly polished from top to bottom. And it has lots of content and variety and depth. And so I think I would probably do it. It is kind of different. Hitman 3 is an easy example of a AAA game. They've straight up said it's a AAA game. It's not a first-party game, but that's an easy example of a AAA game.
Yeah, I can totally see that. So anyway, I think I've had enough time to kind of step away from my thoughts from last night and seeing these tweets and seeing what different developers are saying about Horizon Call of the Mountain, and I am super on board. I don't have any inside information on this, but like I don't think it's going to be this big open world game, but I do think it's going to be a very, very narrative driven, focused game. And if it's 8 to 10 hours, I wouldn't be surprised at all. But that's it's just me speculating, man. Who the hell knows?
Yeah, I was thinking about Firesprite and what they worked on, and to me, the Persistence felt like a AAA game, especially at the time, and it still does to me. I mean, at a time when we were saying, where's the AAA games? And then you've got the Persistence, which is a 13 to 15 hour game story campaign. And then you can replay it several times. There's different modes to play like I have 40 hours in that game. And if like, I don't know the budget for that game or how much time they spent making it, but to me, that is like what a AAA quality game felt like. And, feels like. And this I'd have to gotta wait to see more, but I've got pretty I think it's going to be a pretty big thing. Now I could see, it wouldn't surprise me though if this was a shorter game. I don't think it's going to be some small experience thing. But we have been wrong before. And I just don't think that's going to be the case here, but there's no way of knowing. We're basically just having to guess unless they come out and say, oh, it's going to be a open world 15, 20 hour game. But we'll have to wait and see.
We'll have to wait and see. And we've got a couple of comments. Some of them pertain to this, so let's tackle those. The first one comes to us from Stupid Donkey with the $5 tip. Says, message retracted. Nah, I'm going to be wondering for the rest of the day what the message was. Ultimate President sent us 10 Chinese fingers and says, Sony was testing the waters with PSVR1, and after they have seen that it is a decent fan base, they're seeming to go all out with PSVR2, and this sounds awesome. When do you guys think it will release?
I totally agree with you, Ultimate President. PSVR 1 exceeded their expectations. Some people like to say, oh, there was 100 million PS4s, but they said that they weren't expecting to even sell 5 million PSVRs. So and it was experimental. It was very experimental. This is going to be the first premium VR product now that because the market is also new and evolving and was getting some things figured out. This is the first time in 30 years of attempts that VR is actually viable and actually good enough to exist within the mainstream of gaming. And this will definitely be one more thing to just push that medium forward.
I still love the idea that Sega was trying to make virtual reality run on Sega Genesis. This is
yeah.
I think we really appreciate the attempt there, guys, but it's you were just a little before your time.
When do you think it'll release?
I'm still very much mid 2022. And that's just me being super excited and really, really optimistic and hopeful. I need to get this thing into my hand and into my hands and onto my head as soon as possible. I don't think June is quite there. I think maybe on the cusp, June, July kind of thing. But it's definitely early Q3 is what I'm hoping at this point. But we'll see. We'll see.
I'm thinking late Q3 or Q4.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if it ends up being close to the anniversary date, October 13th.
Right.
Then
I would think that's what they're aiming for, but they could either be ahead of schedule or behind schedule, and that is where I would think it would be. And then if they're ready, it'll be a little bit before that, and if they're not, it'll be November or something.
Yeah. Belrami the Game Cat with the €5 says, reminds me of Matrix now. The sequence in the car was amazing, and I would have been happy with that, but then it drops you in free walking mode.
Reminding me of Matrix now.
The Matrix PS5 Unreal 5 demo.
Right.
Experience. So you don't really have full control over anything at first. He's comparing it to the beginning of possibly what we're seeing here in Call of the Mountain. So you're just shooting by hitting R2 or whatever, and then you finally have full control, and you're like, oh shit! I'm in control now. This is amazing.
Yeah, I can't even wait to get in to start seeing VR games using Unreal Engine 5 and how good that's gonna look. Whew.
Yeah. We got Primal Sage with the 45 Donkey Kong countries. It says the only thing I look forward to more than the launch is the first GAMESCAST after you two have gotten to try PSVR 2. It'll be like watching porn.
That good, huh? Man, I agree though. I can't wait to play it. I'm excited to take the journey to build up together though, and see everything, examine everything leading up to launch.
Yeah. This is such an exciting time because, I was excited. I've been always excited about video games my entire life, and anytime there's a game that I'm excited for, I'm like, oh, this is cool, and a new console. But I think this is probably the most I've ever been excited about anything in my entire life. As far as PSVR 2 is the most exciting piece of technology, the most exciting item I'll ever have to buy. This is what I've been looking forward to pretty much my whole life, and I can't wait.
I was pretty hyped about PS1, so this is definitely up there with PS1. This is like PS1
PlayStation 1?
Yes.
Cool. All right.
I was so excited. I worked hard for my PS1.
Looper, the Underground Game Cat with the €5 is getting in on the AAA question, saying Hitman, RE7, Astro, Blood and Truth, Squadron, Skyrim, Borderlands 2, Doom 3 are the PSVR games I consider AAA. You forgot Immortal Legacy. WTF, man. I think he added one here. Looper, the Underground Game Cat with another €2 says, oh, and also Sniper Elite and No Man's Sky.
Sniper Elite's more AA. Closer to AA. They just make really, deep, pretty deep games, pretty good long games. But yeah, I don't think they're exactly AAA. but I'm sure they would appreciate that as a compliment.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, like, I mean, No Man's Sky, yeah, but like in Resident Evil 7, yep. But I find very few other games on that list like AAA, and maybe that's a bias that I have, but I think I always try to picture these things on a flat screen and go, if this was on a flat screen, would I consider it AAA? And more often than not, the answer is just no. But
Right.
but again, I need to look at those terms and see what my definitions of those terms are. Maybe reevaluate the whole thing just for conversations moving forward. It's not super
I
important.
think,
Labels are dumb.
yeah,
But, yeah.
yeah. I think now that the tech has evolved and can technically stack up to AAA games on a non VR screen, I think we will have to kind of remove that for VR label a little bit.
I agree with you absolutely. And this Snafu with a $5 tip actually brings up a great conversation point, and probably the final conversation I want to have before we get into the main topic today. It says so much more into hybrid games because most VR only games, with the exceptions are amazing. He says are so severely lacking in terms of what the game actually is, and I don't think you meowing. What's wrong? And I don't think he's wrong because so many VR games are very, very limited, right? There's especially my favorite VR games, which are horror games. They all have like sort of this walking sim vibe to them. And then, some of them give you like some inventories, some puzzles, that kind of thing. But for the most part, it's just walking around and experiencing what's around you. So I
Right.
agree. Do you think hybrid? You think the hybrid model is going to like kind of teach some VR devs like, hey, this is how you got to make games?
Well, I think some are going to get it right, and some are I just think some are going to do it better than others, really. But hi, tornadoes, butt.
I know, right? She's so presenting today.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't. I think AAA VR games can exist that are built from the ground up, but I think the hybrid model is the best way to most cost effectively, get AAA games into VR is through the hybrid model.
All right, and we're just gonna read these last two tips, and then we'll get into our discussion of the day. Gatorade23, the H2O despising game cap, $10 tip says, I know shooters aren't much your thing, but can you imagine a game like The Division in VR? This would be my hope for PSVR2. It'd be truly incredible. I'd like a deep shooter. I would like a really deep shooter in VR. I like something that's, not just run around and fire your weapon. Something that's a little bit more thought-provoking, that has a little bit more to the gameplay than just constantly, right?
Yeah, we'll get into a couple today as well.
I agree with that. Ultimate President with the 5 more Chinese fingers says, here are 5 more Chinese fingers. Actually, Swiss francs.
Franks.
Francs. You gotta say it right.
Francs.
Francs. It's probably francs. One more question. Do you guys think PSVR 2 will be backwards compatible with the PSVR 1 titles? Whew, that is a super deep question, man. And I think it's going to be up to the developers to patch their games. And so I think some of those games on PSVR 1 are going to get stranded and left in the dust because some developers don't exist anymore. And then some will, reap the benefits of being on PSVR 2 as well. They smell
Ooh,
these
those
benefits.
Yeah, I think we have heard some really, really good, solid rumors that it is, but all the evidence that it could be backwards compatible, but all the evidence we're seeing is leaning more toward no, that they're going to have remasters, and I think games will benefit from remasters versus just being backwards compatible. And like I've said before, the PS5 is already backwards compatible with PSVR Gen 1, and I think that's going to be, how you play PSVR 1 games is using the adapter, using a PSVR 1 device. But there will be that's not a bad thing because that just means a lot of games, maybe some of your favorites that you want to translate over, you'll probably get like a free upgrade for a PS5 version. It'll be even better. So I don't think there's really anything to worry about. But I understand backwards compatibility being a pretty important thing, and it's just not. There's a couple hurdles that they have to do. Sony would have to figure out some software to help that transition. the licensing could be a thing, and all sorts of stuff play a factor. So I think the best bet is most likely just going to be the remaster route.
Remasters and patches. You know, we had John Hibbins from SciTech Games here and say that, oh, Windlands 2 is ready to play on PSVR 2. I was like, are you supposed to say that kind of shit out loud?
Yeah, but it has to be to probably play on PSVR 2. Maybe they could patch the games if they allow. So that's how it would work. If they did do a backwards compatibility, it would be like, hey, you can play this. No, but they don't allow games to be patched with the DualSense or anything. It has to be a PS5 SKU to be a fully backwards compatible game or something with the PSVR 2, unless they allow it. Unless they're like,
I mean,
developers can patch can remap the controllers up the resolution, stuff like that.
Yeah, this is a whole different situation than what was going on prior to this. Because what was going on prior to this was certain devs wanted to give us a PlayStation 5 patch for their PSVR 1 game that would play on PlayStation VR 1 still, right, with the Move controllers and everything. And it was just like, I guarantee Sony's like, just fucking wait. Just wait.
Yeah.
And then do the PSVR 2 thing. So I think we're going to be in a whole new scenario when that rolls around.
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be a PS5 SKU to run on PSVR 2, because that's just what it seems like.
All right, dude. We need to jump into our topic of the day, and that is,
yes, we do. What
the hell is everyone at Sony working on? Dude, Sony has so many first-party studios. What is it? 18? Is that what we figured out?
Well, he said 17 last night.
17 first-party studios, and I mean, and they've all got to be working on something, right? No one's getting paid to just sit around and do absolutely nothing. And I think we're in a really interesting time. We're in a transitional time. PlayStation 5 is still pretty new. It's only about a year old, and PlayStation VR 2 isn't out yet. And so I think a lot of these studios have been pretty quiet. We've seen a little bit from some. We've got rumors from others. And so I think it's time to blast through this list of Sony first-party devs and see what they're working on.
Yeah, man, we're going to be kicking things off with Team Asobi, which they are currently working on a 3D action game. By the way, I'm using a chart that was posted by Zubitech on Twitter. He does a lot of keeps up with like the job listing stuff. So it saves us a lot of time. So thank you, Zuby.
Yeah, this was super helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. But Team Asobi is the first one. They're working on a 3D action game. What do you think it could be?
Well, I mean, Team Asobi is known for Astrobot Rescue Mission, and obviously the flat screen Astrobot, Astro's Playroom, Astro's whatever, right? Dude. I'm so tired of hearing people say, I hope Team Asobi's next game, or I hope that Astrobot's next game is a flat screen game. I hate that. I hate that sentiment so much because Astrobot ushered in VR. He ushered in PlayStation VR and gave us a mascot, and it made it really special and made it feel something like made PlayStation VR feel like it had an identity, a brand, right? Rather than just being like, oh, here's your headset. And so if they're not working on Astrobot Rescue Mission 2 for PlayStation VR, and I don't care if it's a hybrid game or if it's a PSVR 2 exclusive, I just really hope that's what they're doing.
Too, that above all else is what I would want the most, just because it was such a polished, charming, excellent game. That studio is extremely talented, and but again, that team is extremely talented. I could see them doing something else and it being really, really good. That's the thing, is whatever they make, I don't think they've ever made something I didn't like, actually, to be honest. Even like No More Heroes, I was really happy with. Like that was a really fun game. So I think they have a lot of options. I think the obvious answer, the best answer we could get for news would be an Astrobot sequel. And something that uses the tech. But yeah, like you said, VR for me is what put Astrobot on the map. I loved Astro's Playroom, I really did, but it still doesn't compare to the VR version, in my opinion. It was a cool way to showcase the tech, but without VR and having like it kind of lost some of the sense of wonder and I don't know, those environments, being immersed in those environments and stuff was like just breathtaking.
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny because I just said I don't care if it's a hybrid game, but I really do think that if unless they're able to really, really, really make it feel like it's built from the ground up for VR, I feel like they were just scratching the surface with what could be done with a 3D platformer in VR and exclusive to VR. Things that can only be done if you're in VR. And so I'd almost like to retract my statement and say, you know what, Team Asobi, go forth and show us what you can do with a VR only game. But keep
it would
it.
be nice to get another VR exclusive.
Keep it Astrobot, and then go do your own thing after that. But one more Astrobot game, and that'll keep us happy.
As long as they know, I remember seeing what's Nico. I forget what's his full name. Nicholas Doucette. I remember seeing him saying that, like, we'll make whatever people ask for, and I hope he sees how much people would want an Astrobot 2. Because he was like, we're done with Astro's Playroom. We're moving on. It's whatever, feels right, whatever people are asking for. And I really hope that people know, or that he knows how much we would love a sequel.
Texatron, the indoor cat with the $5 tip, says, here's your $5 towards PSVR2. XOXO. Texatron, thank you so much. I miss you, Robin. Bremen, 1973, with the $5 tip, says, do you think PSVR2 inside-out tracking will be able to track the moves and the aim? No. Looper, the underground game cat with the €5 says, even in the flat game, Astrobot wears PSVR whenever he's idle. They aren't giving up this mascot. Excellent point.
Yeah. There was so many great references in that game. So the next developer is Sucker Punch. They have a current project that is only listed as a narrative open world game and a second project as a multiplayer game.
Dude, Sucker Punch is one of my favorite studios. Going back, because you and I both have been such PlayStation fans, PlayStation gamers for such a long time. And the first time I remember Sucker Punch, actually I played Rocket Robot on Wheels on N64. But the first time I really fell in love with those guys was on the PS2 with Sly Cooper. I loved all three Sly Cooper games. In the second and third one were like open world, and you could just see this natural progression of them. Even with Rocket moving into Sly Cooper, moving into Infamous, like running across electricity wires, all that stuff. Like and then it kind of even followed suit with Ghost of Tsushima. I just want these guys to make an Infamous game in VR. I really do.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking. I mean, I don't, Ghost of Tsushima, which recently just got reportedly, they just crossed the 8 million mark. It would be amazing to play that in VR. I'd be totally down. I don't know how easy that would be because I haven't played it yet. But I would absolutely love that, to experience that world. If it had VR, I would have played it by now. But I sometimes have been waiting this gen. I've been waiting, let me see, just in case it gets a VR mode, I want to experience it the first time like that, because that usually is my type of game, something like that. But yeah, I think an Infamous VR game would be really cool. What about a multiplayer though? I have no idea. This could be really everything. A narrative open world game, that sounds like it. Well, that could be anything too, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of what they've been making since they started making Sly Cooper games.
Right. So this one's a little bit of an unknown. I don't think there's any definitive answer what this could be.
Yeah. Dude, the Orb controllers, man. Just I want to be Cole or another Infamous character. I don't care. And because he was so good at hovering, he really didn't fly, but he would hover. And so I just feel like if I was holding the orbs and I could pull the triggers in part way to lift myself up off the ground, it would give me a little bit of that Iron Man experience. And I pull my triggers a little bit further and lift myself further off the ground. And I think running across those electric lines would be awesome, because I've got a little bit of a fear of heights. So running from building to building and looking down and be like, holy shit, we're really high off the ground. Just all of these things that were pretty cool on the PlayStation 3 in VR, I think would be super, super impressive. I don't think they're going backwards, because Sony doesn't generally let their teams do that. They'd give it to another team and go, you make an Infamous game instead. But that's what I would like them to do.
Oh, Matthew Longer says it's Ghost of Tsushima 2. Yeah.
So
give me a VR mode for it.
That makes the most sense. Yeah, bring it on. Hybrid games, right? Dreamcastic channel with the $2 tip says multiplayer focused Infamous game in VR. That would be the dream.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Even if it was
Yeah.
just 2-player co-op, just run around and like take down bad guys together. I think it'd be really fun.
Yeah, I think when a game sells 8 million, it warrants a sequel probably.
Oh yeah, big time.
Next, we have Santa Monica Studio, which their current project is God of War Ragnarok, and their second project is a new AAA IP.
Do you know what Santa Monica has done other than God of War?
Quite a bit, in fact.
I mean, yeah, I know, and I'm just, I feel like I need
Well,
to see what they've done.
let me start with the obvious: is that I don't think God of War Ragnarok is going to be a hybrid game. I don't think it's going to be a VR game. I think that is solely going to be a non-VR game. Their second project is a new AAA IP, which basically means it could probably be anything. David Jaffe thinks that they might be working on a new Twisted Metal game to coincide with the movie, or is it a movie or a TV show? I think it's a TV show. They announced a Twisted Metal TV show, which is awesome or something. I'm a big fan of Twisted Metal, and I would love. Sorry about like the attack helicopter that's outside my house, but I would love a Twisted Metal VR, probably more than just about anything else. Twisted Metal is like one of my first PlayStation obsessions, IPs, and I know it's kind of fallen off over the years. I know that that it's not, vehicular combat is like you got to find something new to do with it. So I get that, the struggles with that, but they own the IP, yeah, like Paul says in the chat, it would be probably developed by Lucid Games as well. So. Yeah, not sure on this one either.
Twisted Metal. I was reviewing RC Airplane Challenge, and I was just in my head. I was thinking, why don't we have more games like this? I'm flying around, on an RC airplane, shooting down my friends. Right, in the RC Airplane Challenge, lets you do it with like 32 players, which is insane. But like we don't have a lot of games like that. Like Starblood Arena was the closest we probably got to Twisted Metal in VR, and that's obviously totally different themes, but like that's what I'm looking for. And sorry again, sirens on my end. This is an insane night. Everything's burning down, AJ. This is the end of the world. So, but yeah, Twisted Metal Black was my favorite entry in the series, and I love that whole dark tone that the series took, darker than even it was before. And doing that in VR and actually being in the driver's seat, that'd be great. I don't know. I could totally see God of War being reworked for VR though.
I feel like that would be a similar case of what they're doing with Horizon, where they do like a spin-off. I feel like that would be more likely than a hybrid though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean potentially, but I don't know.
Get to carry and get to use like the Chains of Olympus or whatever, and yeah, it could be cool.
Yeah, I should have more thoughts on this one, but I really, really do want that. Real quick, we got Wild Hour, the Game Cat with the Australian $2 tip, and says RC Airplane Challenge multiplayer Wild-Hour 193. Add Wild Hour as a friend and play some multiplayer RC Airplane Challenge with him.
I said Chains of Olympus. I meant to say Chaos Blades.
Piotrek F with the 10 Plantains says Call of Duty Modern Warfare VR would be awesome. Indeed. Hoping that'll be a hybrid game coming up.
All right, so now is where things get really, really interesting, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Insomniac Games, who have experience with VR, their current projects are Spider-Man 2, there's Wolverine, and an unknown multiplayer game.
Okay, so I think one of the dream titles that everybody would love in VR, I mean, because we've gotten a couple of Spider-Man experiences, is a full-fledged Spider-Man game. What do you think the likelihood is that Insomniac is going to deliver a VR-only Spider-Man game rather than just bringing like the last or the next Spider-Man game into VR?
I think they would be absolutely crazy not to make a Spider-Man VR game. absolutely crazy. not
Regardless
to
of how
do
they
that.
do it, they just need to do it, is what you're saying.
Well, for so many reasons, it's such a great fit for VR. Yes, there are people that are concerned about motion sickness, but not to those who play VR. We've had some of these teaser demos. We've had like what two movie based free experiences that we were given, and the Spider-Man Far From Home experience was really like a fun proof of concept of swinging around the city. It was a little bit, it was pretty low budget. It was kind of like incomplete and janky in some ways, but it was a great proof of concept, and it was really, really cool. And yeah, I think the gameplay would be amazing with PSVR2, and the gameplay, the visuals, all of that. I think you have to do a Spider-Man VR game eventually.
Yeah, and the fact is that even if they did something built from the ground up, we're going to put that in quotes because they have the entire city already created. It's like they've got all these assets that they can use, and so even if they're making a brand new game, they can totally just take the stuff that they've already created and sort of build a new game around it. If we're swinging around in Windlands 2, I don't see why we couldn't swing around in Manhattan as Spider-Man. I think that gamers ready for it. I think that most of us have the stomachs for it, and I think that with the haptics in the headset, possibly everyone could be ready for it. So,
Spidey senses. You even have the haptics in the headset for the Spidey senses, man.
Right.
Come on. Tell me that's not the perfect fit. But the interesting thing is they also have this Wolverine.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that could be really cool too. We've played games like Sirento that have Wolverine claws, and that shit is fun. Like, it is good. So a Wolverine, this could be a potential hybrid game maybe. Yeah, a Spider-Man and a Wolverine game, like Insomniac would be crushing it, especially while Spider-Man's so hot right now.
Right, dude. If they're concerned about motion sickness, then Wolverine is obviously the game that they want to focus on for VR.
Right,
Right.
Right. You get motion sickness, no problem. Go play Wolverine. And go Berserker Claw.
Oh yeah, just
Tornado
run around,
Claw.
a lot of jump in, maybe double jump in, and then I can already feel it in the orbs.
Climbing,
what happens with my
climbing up a
adamantium.
wall, dude. Like climbing up a wall and like sticking into a brick wall, and it's like, oh god. I hope it's like super gory though, and like I would want it to be like super gory, which I think this Wolverine game is supposed to be more mature.
I saw some love for Resistance in the chat. Insomniac is such a tough studio to blast past without giving it a ton of love because Resistance is such a good trilogy, such a good series on PlayStation 3, and I mean I think you and I both played Resistance 3, right, with the sharpshooter move controller.
Day one, yep. Resistance 3. I mean, I played all three of them, but yeah, day one, I went out and bought Resistance 3 with the sharpshooter and everything, and it was incredible. I beat it, and I even played the multiplayer after. The multiplayer was really fun. I don't know why that game wasn't very successful.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on with that, but I do feel like VR's Resistance second chance. Maybe they won't give it to Insomniac. Maybe they'll give it to a different studio because Insomniac has a lot of other higher profile games to work on right now. But I would love to see Resistance get another chance in VR. It is absolutely a time to bring it back. It's been a generation and a half since we've seen it.
There's definitely a great opportunity. That's the cool thing about these games. It's not necessarily about what they're currently working on or could be in the future. Mm-hmm. It's what they already have access to and can remaster or bring back. Similar to some of these games that we've seen get the VR treatment. Doom 3 we got this year. If Doom 3 and Resident Evil 4 can make a comeback into VR, so can Resistance.
I do like that Sora the Game Cat King is kind of thinking outside the box, saying Sunset Overdrive VR.
Oh my God, I was thinking about that. I was actually I loved Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah.
I beat that too, and
I did not beat that.
that was like my kind of personal Infamous game that I really liked.
Nice. I think the next
one. It was like Infamous and Tony Hawk mixed. Okay, anyways, go ahead.
I think the next studio, Polyphony Digital, is super, super easy to talk about. We've been saying that Gran Turismo 7 is all but confirmed for a PlayStation VR2 title, potentially a PSVR2 launch title. This is a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, I think Gran Turismo 7 is going to be a PSVR2 launch title, and I've been stalking Kazunori Yamauchi for years now, and we've been reporting on everything.
That poor man.
He was talking about VR himself as far back as like 2-3 years ago, saying how the biggest generational leap between the PS4 and PS5 is going to be between with VR, and how VR is going to be affected by the PS5 hardware and the new tech. And yeah, I totally agree, and I do expect this to be. He even spoke recently with some magazine. I think Jamie Al pointed out, and he was like, we're not in a place where we can talk about VR just yet," and that usually means like you know, it means he can't say anything yet. But they're working on it. So I think this is an absolute obvious given. Of course, I'll say what everybody is thinking, and that is just like, let's hope that it's the full game in VR this time.
I mean, if it's not, like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. We understand that the OG PS4 had its limitations, and that Sony had its rules, and that you couldn't do a full game on the Pro and not on the OG. But man, yeah, I will not understand if the full game is not on PlayStation VR 2. I will not understand that, and I will not forgive that, and I will not play it if that's not the case. I think this is
I'll
their
still
chance
play
to.
it, but I'll be angry about it.
I'll still play it. Dude, you're such a.
I'm weak.
Such a
I like
typical
my
gamer.
games.
I'm gonna play it for 200 hours, but I'm still gonna be pissed.
I'm gonna bitch about it online, but I'm gonna play it for 500 hours.
Matthew Longo says it's got to be the game runs on PS4, and that's an excellent point.
Yeah, true. All right, next we have Guerrilla.
Never heard of
Yep, never heard of them. Which we already talked about earlier. Obviously, we got Forbidden West coming out. They do have it says a job listing they had, I guess, for a second player project that's a multiplayer game. So not sure what that's about. But the third project, of course, is the glorious news we got last night, which was Horizon Call of the Mountain. And so far as we know about this game, it's a spin-off. It's not Forbidden West. It's not Zero Dawn. It's its own thing. You're playing as a different character, and they're going to be revealing more info about that soon.
Nice. Well, no need to waste any more time on them then, is there?
Well, other than I'm just really excited for it, and I hope it's really good, and I think it will be.
Nice.
I think it'll be a great intro. At the very least, the least it can do or be is like a very awesome introduction to PSVR 2. That's like worst case scenario in my opinion.
Yeah. Remy the Game Cat with the €5 says Gran Turismo 7 will be very menu heavy. So tuning I would prefer flat, but if it has full races and multiplayer in VR, that's great already. So tuning I would prefer flat.
Tuning the car, you can like tune your cars up, and there's all this stuff. There's like liveries and all sorts of stuff you can do.
Well, hopefully
usually
it's
from our
optimized for
experience,
VR.
yeah, from our experience, menus are usually easier in VR because you can just point and select versus go all the way down or scroll down or up or whatever.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Yeah, it shouldn't be an issue. I wonder if we can just have an orb sitting next to us, like so you get your wheel right here. Right, and then you just have your orb in the back seat, and you go blink, 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 blink. Put it in the back seat. Let's drive. Yep. That brings us to our next studio, and probably the one I'm most excited to talk about, and that's Naughty Dog. Dude, Naughty Dog had such an amazing past on PlayStation, starting with Crash Bandicoot and Jak and Daxter, and Uncharted, Last of Us. I mean, they've pretty much been killing it since day one. But what is our little cheat sheet here say that they're let's try that again. What is it? What does our cheat sheet say? Yeah.
The current projects they're working on that are listed through job listings are Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection, a standalone multiplayer game. Isn't that supposed to be like The Last of Us Factions, or is that something else?
I couldn't tell you.
From what I've been following, it sounds like that might be The Last of Us Factions, which is like a multiplayer Last of Us thing. And then the third project is a AAA narrative and storytelling game. So, not really a whole lot to go off here. I think what everybody would probably want is a Last of Us VR, or just an original IP. But
It's a,
whatever they do, their Naughty Dog is always on the money.
it's a tough one, right? Because honestly, like what I really want from them is Uncharted VR, because Uncharted is all the things that make VR great: climbing and shooting and running and jumping, and you could potentially even Indiana Jonesing, swinging across like a ledge on a vine or something like that, right? Like all these things that those kind of adventures are just so much more epic in VR. So that's what I would like them to be making. And I've said this, I know, 1,000 times, and I apologize for being so fucking predictable. But I want to be able to pick up like relics and brush them off with my hand and go, what does that say? What does that say? And it gives me a hint on where to go next. Like just the interactivity with like these artifacts that you're finding, I think would just be amazing. And I want The Last of Us in VR, but I think that I do have a feeling we're going to be talking about that further down this list.
Yeah, I'm not sure. To be honest with you, I'm probably going to give a pass on Naughty Dog right now because I just don't see them really working on any VR projects at this time. Next, we have San Diego Studio, who makes MLB The Show. They do have a new IP that's a third-person action game, so I'd probably mark that one off maybe. But I would love, just as a side note, I would love MLB The Show to come to VR. That would be awesome. I think baseball would be a really cool fit, and would be super fun.
Dude, I'm absolutely like I'm not like a huge sports fan or anything like that. I'm not even a little sports fan, but I played baseball games with my dad growing up, MLB earlier titles and all sorts of things, and we had a lot of fun.
Super Robot 2020.
No,
No, I'm sorry. Robot Baseball 2020. Super Robot Baseball
was that
2020.
the SNK one on NES?
I played it on. I think it was on NES. I played it on SNES. I've liked a lot of baseball games, and I like going to baseball games. But
The arcade ones are always fun. Dude, baseball seems perfect for VR. All you're doing is throwing a ball and swinging a bat
and hitting. Well, you got to catch it too, and then throw it with the eye tracking. We were just talking about how they said there's eye tracking on the new headset, and I think where you're looking could help you with where you're throwing. So I think you could pull off some cool stuff with that tech. That would be really cool.
Yeah. We got Grizzly Bear King with a $10 tip. Says, take my money and tell me what the chances are that Call of the Mountain is on rails. I'm going to say pretty much slim to none at this point. Continue to be the best in the biz and keep doing what you do. Thank you very much. Wolverazo with the $2 tip says, I always wanted an Of the Mountain title. Fantastic. You're getting it.
Of the Mountain title.
Looper the Underground Game Cat with the €2 says, Last of Us VR. Let's go. Hell yeah. That brings us to London Studio, who...
London Studio. Now this will be a very interesting one. They did Blood and Truth. They did London Heist. PlayStation VR Worlds. They are heavy on the experimenting with new tech stuff, and I think for me personally, I'm gonna assume whatever they're doing is VR unless proven otherwise. It could possibly be a flat game, but I'm gonna just always assume they're doing VR at this point. And they're hiring for a new online AAA IP. So I don't know if it was this one, but yeah, I'd just say they're working on some new IP that's a multiplayer game, and it's gonna be VR, and that's about it.
Yeah, the interesting thing about this is I think this. What I think they're working on literally has everything to do with what Rockstar is doing with Sony. Because if Rockstar is creating Grand Theft Auto 5 online VR, right? If Sony and Rockstar have a deal and they're like, oh yeah, we're bringing that to PSVR2, then I'm like, all right, fine. But if they're not, if for some reason they're not bringing Grand Theft Online to PSVR2, then I bet these guys have such a great history of The Getaway and Blood and Truth, right?
Yeah.
It's just they're pretty decent. Blood and Truth was an open world, but The Getaway was on PS2, and so I bet we could see some kind of like online multiplayer crime syndicate sort of thing going on if GTA Online doesn't happen.
That'd be cool. Yeah, maybe they could. I wonder if they ever work on some like kind of projects that are owned by other studios. Like maybe they work on like a Payday or something. Or I know a lot of people actually really would love a Blood and Truth sequel. I can't say I'm pretty confident that that's going to happen. But I'd be down for it.
Piotrek F with the 10 plantains says San Diego, maybe SOCOM VR. Dude, there were some huge SOCOM fans back on the PlayStation 2. SOCOM would be pretty damn cool.
Third-person action game. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I love SOCOM, actually. SOCOM was amazing, in fact. And, yeah, as many shooters we can get, I'll take them all. But, yeah, Sony London could be just about anything, so that's a tough one.
Yeah. Pixel Opus is next, and it's funny because their game Concrete Genie is one of those games that I always wanted to get around playing. And I didn't because it was a flat screen game, but I thought it looked beautiful, and it was really, really sad they never brought it to PlayStation VR. So it looks like they're working on a new IP, but whatever that new IP is, I really hope that they make it to PlayStation VR because they're able to make these beautiful worlds, and their use of color in Concrete Genie was awesome, and I think that would have really, really shown in VR.
I think they're gonna remaster Entwined and bring it to VR.
Okay.
I never played that. Did you?
No, I missed out on that one.
It looks like it'd be a trip in VR, especially on PSVR2. Next, we have Bend Studio, who made Days Gone. They're currently working on a AAA new IP.
That sucks. Because I really want Days Gone in VR. I really feel like that would be absolutely perfect. I don't think Days Gone got the love that it deserved. Coming from a guy who didn't play it and only heard people talk about it, right? It didn't maybe it didn't sell all that well or what the deal was, but it sounds like
people were very upset that they were not making a Days Gone 2. Yeah, people were very mad about that.
Yeah, I think that series deserves another chance, and I think if they reboot it on PlayStation VR 2, then that would be again just like Resistance, it would be the chance that it deserves.
Yeah. It's a tough one to put your finger on. I mean, I'm sure they had some reasoning behind it. Next, we have Media Molecule with a current unknown project. And, of course, they're the makers of Dreams. Yeah, man, what you think about this?
I kind of hope that they just stay focused and just keep delivering Dreams updates and making sure that we get the PSVR 2 update. And just, because this was a massive project. Dreams took them like the better part of a decade
10 years
to make, and so like you don't just abandon something like that. And so yeah, I mean, do you think they're doing anything other than Dreams?
To be honest with you, if they were, it'd probably be like a small game, small title, and I don't really see it being a VR game. What I do think though is that, and what I would love to see is Dreams getting a PS5 version and a PSVR 2 compatible update. I think to be able to make your own PSVR 2 games, Brian, like the shit people are already doing in Dreams is amazing with PSVR. It is mind-blowing. And to get a proper PS5 update with a proper PSVR 2 update and having the controls and everything ready to go with the templates, man, that could be some insane stuff right there.
Yes, I agree. Hopefully it happens. Keep with it.
Now, here we go. That's getting juicier here. Housemarque, developers of lots of stuff. I mean, most recently, of course, is Returnal. They are working on an unknown project at this time, but they made Returnal. They made Nex Machina, also a huge fan of that game, and they also made Resogun.
What do you think?
Dude, my dream game, what I think is that my dream VR game right now is Returnal in VR. Yep. That is my dream VR game. So I'm really hoping White Moon Dreams is actually hiring for some more people. They assisted with this game, and I'm hoping that that White Moon Dreams is helping them create a PSVR 2 version of this game. But this game, I like this game so much, even though it's not VR. If it never gets a VR version, I will go back and finish it. But I stopped after Biome 2 because I want to wait and hold off and see if it's in VR, because that's how I want to experience this game.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. There's a million things that I'd like them to go back to. One of my favorite games of theirs is one of their probably least well received, which was Dead Nation.
MRI Gamer. MRI Gamer said, "Screw Returnal, give me Detonation 2 VR."
Yeah, I mean,
Detonation was great too. I loved it. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was a twin stick shooter, right? And it was so. I mean, if you even change the perspective of that and try to give somebody like something more immersive, like first person or whatever, it would just become, I think, a generic zombie shooter. So I think with that in mind, yeah, Returnal VR would be amazing, and I do want it in first person, regardless of what maybe some other opinions floating around the internet might say, because I really do want to feel those guns in my hands and like have to look over my shoulders, and
We'll have a conversation about third person, first person another day. We have a whole discussion around it.
all right, which brings us to our last two studios, first of which being Firesprite.
Yeah, Firesprite and Fabric. I don't know how they say it. Makers of the Persistence. They, of course, are working. They're working on a boatload of stuff. Now, we know that they're a huge studio. They helped develop this. They're helping to work on this Horizon Call of the Mountain. And but they've also got a bunch of other projects, including a AAA narrative adventure. Star Citizen's Theaters of War. I don't know why. I don't know what that is.
I mean, Star Citizen is kind of a notorious Kickstarter game at this point, which, as far as I know, isn't even coming to PlayStation 5. So they just got to, I'm assuming, got to fulfill those obligations. But
okay. They also have a new AAA IP action shooter, and that AAA narrative adventure, I think, is supposed to be like a dark and gritty one. So whatever it is, I just would like to assume that whatever they do is going to be in VR, and I will like it. Hell, I'd take a Persistence too. I love that game. I love the Persistence so much.
I love the Persistence as well. But I think Firesprite is going to be the team that, doing their own title, will demonstrate what hybrid games are like. Because they're the Persistence, they made a non-VR version of, VR version of, the whole deal, and I really feel like that these guys can probably show us how to do a game that works perfectly on a flat screen, and then it really takes advantage of VR as well. So I'd like this team to be the team to really show us just how far you can push the hybrid model. It'd be pretty cool, whatever they do. So.
Yeah, but this team is awesome, and I look forward to whatever they do, and I hope they're all VR games. Yeah. Which brings us to our last one, which is, well, technically our last one, but we'll give a bonus. We'll give a bonus. But the last one on the list right now is Bluepoint Games. For them, tell me yours first. What you think?
Well, I mean, Bluepoint has been awesome from the beginning, but they haven't had a chance to do anything on their own. What they've done so far has been bring Demon Souls to PlayStation 5 and remastered it, and brought Shadow of the Colossus to PlayStation 4 and remastered it, and just kind of made these older games seem really, really fresh again. So they're really, really good from a technical standpoint, but we haven't actually seen much of what they can do on their own. And the rumor says that they're making something, an original AAA IP. And so Sony's bought them because of what they were good at, you'd think, and then said, now go, fly, be free, do your thing. It seems like a weird direction for a team that's really good at doing one thing to just go and do something entirely different.
I feel like they're still going to be. So you're saying they're not going to be doing more remasters?
I mean, it says
on this. I feel like that's what they were brought in to do.
Absolutely, but it says on this document that they're working on an original AAA IP. Do you think it's their own original?
Maybe. I don't know. I have no idea. But I don't think it's going to be. Either way, I don't think it's going to be VR, so I'm not really concerned with it, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
But let's give you a bonus round. There's a couple other developers like San Mateo, Nixis, Visual Arts, and Valkyrie Entertainment.
Visual Arts is mostly part of San Diego, though, right?
Okay.
And those Visual Arts actually seems like they're the ones rumored that might be doing the Last of Us remake. And so
okay.
And so if they're doing that, it's a pretty mysterious studio. It's a pretty mysterious subdivision of San Diego Studios. And so without knowing like really what they're capable of or how big that team is or what the deal is over there, I don't know if that's going to be VR. I don't know if I have no idea what they're planning over there.
But the bonus one we want to give to you guys is XDev, which I think would be amazing if they brought a new what, Brian?
I mean, the heavily rumored Wipeout game.
Yes. Yep. They apparently are working on a next gen. This is just a rumor, so take it with a grain of salt. But there is a rumor that they are working on a next gen PSVR2 Wipeout game, and with what they did with Wipeout Omega Collection, I mean that looked like a PSVR2 game on PSVR1. Let's be honest here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I mean it was incredible. I'm still blown away every single time I start this game up.
Yeah.
But yeah, just
yeah,
something from the ground up would be absolutely amazing. You know, just take full advantage of PSVR2, take full advantage of PlayStation 5. It'd be pretty damn cool. I see JackGamer7 in the chat might have a "you're wrong" for us. The Last of Us remake got moved to Naughty Dog. I missed that. I didn't know it got moved back in house. That's interesting to hear.
Oh, okay. For you, for not me. I've got a perfect scorecard today. Every single thing I said is true.
By tomorrow, that scorecard will have lots of red marks all over it.
And perfect grammar.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's all 17 studios. There's actually maybe like, 18, 19? Something?
Yeah, they recently purchased Nixxes software, which does a lot of PC ports. So they're bringing PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 games to PC. But my question is like, that could possibly go the other way too, right? So if there's any deals that Sony has with Valve or other PC devs, you're like, hey, if you give us the license to your game, we'll take care of the internal porting and all that stuff. And we've got this team Nixxes that's really, really good at that, and they'll take care of it. So I'm a little bit curious if they've got the capabilities to bring PC games over to PlayStation 5 as well.
Cat says deep down. I don't remember.
That was a pre-PlayStation 3 trailer, right? That was
Capcom? That was a PS4 trailer, right?
I don't know. I think Deep Down was supposed to be a PlayStation 3 game by Capcom.
Are we still wondering if Deep Down is going to come out? Oh my god. Wow. I agree.
Dude, Agent's going to come out eventually.
I would love Metal Gear in VR. There is somebody working on a new Metal Gear-ish style game. So yeah, want all these to be hybrids.
The real talker. You didn't get out alive, AJ. You got one. You're wrong today. He clarifies, says you said no more heroes instead of no heroes allowed, and I did hear you say that.
Man.
Yep. I was like, we'll just let that slide. No one was paying attention.
Banned.
Good job, real talker. Good job. While It's a Read Faridi with the Canadian $5 tip says, on a side note, I can confidently say that 99% of PSVR1 owners will buy PSVR2. I will buy it day one. I expect PSVR2 to break VR sales records. I also believe that to be true.
Yeah, I think the sales are going to quadruple the thing, and it could be anywhere from $300 to $500, and people will most likely buy the hell out of it, I'd imagine.
They'll absolutely buy the hell out of it, and they will love it, wire and all. AJ, it's time for our favorite part of the show, and hopefully your favorite part of the show too. It's PSVR 20 questions time.
Yes, and it is my pick today, and I've got a game ready. Hopefully it's not one I chose before, but it's the best one I could think of.
Yeah, what are you going to do? We try not to repeat, but...
For a long time, well, I don't think it is a repeat, but I know that it's starting to get harder to remember at this point because we've done it so many times. So I need to look at the cheat sheet that's in the Discord.
Dude, by week 2, it was hard to remember.
I was good up until about right now.
All right. Well, then let's put 6 minutes up on the clock. That means you guys out there, you got to help me big time because my memory is like Swiss cheese brain, and I have no idea. I can't remember a single PlayStation VR game right now. If you asked me to name one, I couldn't do it. We got 20 yes or no questions to figure out what PlayStation VR game AJ's thinking of, and only 6 minutes on the clock. Let's do this. There it is. Is it a cartoony POS? It says Emily Baxter. We're going to say, is it a cartoony game?
Sort of. I'd probably say no, but it has a little bit of a cartoony art style, a little bit.
I don't like this
It's not
already.
the best question.
Does it?
Let me say, yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one for this one. I'm going to say no.
We're off to a good
It's not
start,
cartoony.
AJ.
But I'm sure there's some people that are going to be like, it is a cartoony looking game. So that's the most accurate answer you can have. I'm going to say no. People are going to disagree.
Toby Uniake? God, that can't be how you pronounce that. But thank you, Toby, for the $5 tip. Says Guardians of the Galaxy will make an amazing PSVR2 game with space scenery, elemental guns on the Sense controllers. With the space scenery, elemental guns on the Sense. Hell yeah.
Are great things about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, it looks really good. Okay, so we don't know if it's cartoony or not, so one down and nowhere to go. Is it a first person game? This is a dumb question.
It is in first person.
Okay. Does it have full locomotion?
Does not have full locomotion.
No full loco. No. Okay, so it's
Not
first
full
person.
loco.
We're guessing teleport only. Unless you don't move at all. Do you move in this game either by teleportation? Or
I'd say no. I'd say there's no teleportation in this game.
okay, so you first person, you stand in one place. Sort of cartoony. Are there vehicles? Good question, Michael.
Are there vehicles like anywhere in the game?
I mean, do they play a part in the game? Do you control vehicles?
You do not control vehicles.
Okay.
I don't think. No, you don't.
No on the vehicles. This is going well. Does it support
There
the
are
dual
vehicles in the game.
Does it,
You don't.
there are vehicles. You don't. Okay.
You just don't control.
Does it support the DualShock?
It does support the DualShock.
Okay. So we don't know if it supports the move, but at least we know that it supports the DualShock. Is it an arcadey style game?
It is an arcadey style game.
Okay. Is there a lot of shooting in this game?
There is a lot of shooting in this game.
Okay. This helps us out, guys. All right. So, a lot of shooting. You stand still. It's an arcade-ish game. It has DualShock 4 support. There's no full locomotion. Standing still. You're in first person. He says he's not sure about the cartoony thing. Is there any horror vibe to this at all?
I'm going to say no, even though there might be a smidgen.
No horror. Well, thank you, Bearded Power. I tried. Is it funny?
No, but it has a couple jokes. It's got some funny stuff about it. Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
But it's not a comedy. No.
Okay. Would you call it a wave shooter?
You're on 10. Would I call it a wave shooter? No, I wouldn't call it a wave shooter.
Okay. That eliminates quite a few of the games that we're talking about here. Has this developer made any other VR games? Or PSVR
They have made
games?
other PSVR games, yes.
Okay.
You're on 13.
Is this made by Arvory?
It's not made by Arvory.
I hope I don't go down the wrong route. Is it made by Servios?
It's not made by Servios.
Oh, God. We're off and running. This is bad. This is bad news.
I saw it in the chat. I've seen somebody say it.
Oh, really?
Early on.
It's so. Oh, I can't. I'm not going to scroll back. So, not a wave shooter, but there's a lot of shooting. It's arcadey. You can use the DualShock 4. Can you also use the aim controller?
You can use the aim controller as well.
Okay,
That
that's
was
gonna
question number 15.
15, and we got a minute and 15 seconds left or so. Okay, guys, we got to think of an arcadey game, very arcadey game where you stand still and you shoot a lot. Oh, a lot of people are saying Polybius. Is this a Jeff Minter game?
No.
Okay. Is this one of the Dick Wilde games?
It's not a Dick Wild game. I'm starting to wonder if I answered some of these bad. The fact that you're so far away. Okay.
How many questions do I have left?
Yeah, you're on 18.
Is this made by the Binary Mill?
It's not made by the Binary Mill. You get one more guess, one more question and a guess. I'm seeing it more and more.
A lot of people are saying Crisis Brigade, and I saw Gun Club a lot. But okay, is this is is this the more realistic sequel of a shooting game?
This is the more realistic sequel of a shooting game.
On the last question, is it Crisis Brigade 2?
It is Crisis Brigade 2.
At the buzzer! The bomb blew up and everything.
Oh, nice, man. Well done. Woo, you made me nervous, man. I thought this was super easy. I tried to make it really easy on you, but I know that sometimes not. Yeah, I think I saw Rypop like after like the third question, like Crisis Brigade.
Listen, we'll get
Nice
Rypop
job.
up here on the hot seat one of these days and see how many questions it takes him.
You owe the cat some pizza and coffee for that one. They bailed your ass out.
Oh, dude, I owe the cats endless pizza, coffee, hugs, snuggles, anything they want, man. They got it because they have been taking care of me for the better part of 5 years. Wally, it's
That was about as tense as playing Crisis Brigade.
Yeah, I needed a crouch button big time. Waleed Saeed Faridi with the Canadian $5 tip says, listening to Kind of Funny, I get disappointed how often they downplay PSVR. I suggest they invite you guys on an episode to increase awareness of PlayStation VR. Yeah.
Would you hold on? Oh yeah, let's answer that first.
Yeah, I get disappointed whenever anybody downplays PSVR. We love Kind of Funny. I love Greg Miller. It's like, I wouldn't be doing this without Greg Miller and Colin Moriarty. Like, they were the reason that I started doing anything on YouTube or podcasting or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it sucks, but I think the world will come around. We've been waiting for the world to come around to VR for years now, and I think with PSVR 2, it's not going to be something you can ignore anymore.
It's gonna be weird, man, because I think PSVR and VR in general, I think it is gonna like exist in the mainstream, but I think most people are gonna either prefer non-VR or VR.
Yeah.
Like I think they're both gonna be. I think VR is gonna be super popular, mainstream popular, but I don't know if people are gonna be jumping back and forth. I think that's gonna be the minority. I think majority of people are gonna be all in or just staying with what they like. And I don't think that's a bad thing. There's a lot of people that get offended or defensive when someone says VR is the future. And I think VR is the future, but that doesn't mean at all to me that it's replacing flat screening game. It's just where the innovation, the creativity, the new experiences and new gameplay is going to be. And to me, that's where, at least at a high level, and that's what it means to me. It doesn't necessarily mean like replacing anything that ever existed before.
Yeah.
That being said, everything's better in VR.
Yeah, I mean, VR makes everything better. That's fucking for certain. And I do think that VR will replace flat screen gaming to a certain degree. I think that my Switch is the exact way I want to play flat screen games. I want to play flat screen games portable, in my bed, laying down, on a car ride, something like that. But when I'm home and I want the full interactive experience, like I don't want to play on a flat screen anymore. Definitely want to pop in the headset and really experience that game as immersive as possible.
Picture says, "Oh, for fuck's sake, AJ, cheating again! It's a fucking wave shooter." I don't think Crisis Brigade is a wave shooter. You don't. It's not wave 1, wave 2. If anything, it's more like a Time Crisis style rail shooter. I'd say it's a rail shooter.
It's a rail shooter, yeah. Jeremy, the NES rookie with the New Zealand $2 tip says, "Has there been any more talk of going on Colin's Sacred Symbols Plus?" No. I think it's kind of been a waiting game for me. I said, yeah, whenever you're ready, I'm down, and it's just been like scheduling and sort of waiting for them to figure out everything on their end. When they're ready, I'm down.
Say no, and you'll get the call the next day, guaranteed.
Right. All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us while we talked about a bunch of first-party Sony studios. We love you all so very much. You've been amazing. There's so many people to thank. You know who you are. I'll go through the entire list of people to thank next time. But the most important person really is this guy right here. Click the link in the description below and subscribe to PlayStation VR Underground or PSVR Underground, maybe soon to be PSVR2 Underground.
Ooh,
way
PSVR
too underground. TOO Underground. He's too underground for you. Subscribe to AJ. He's a nice guy. I know he doesn't come across that way on stream, but he really is. He's a nice dude.
Subscribe to Brian Paul. He showers just for this show, just for you.
That's right. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to everybody who donated. Thank you to everybody who participated in the chat. And, of course, thank you to everybody who's watching later. It doesn't say a goddamn word. We know you're out there. We love you just as much. Where's the cat? I need to cue the cat. I can't find the cat. Can't cue the cat. If I can't find the cat, found the cat. I'm going to cue the cat.
Cue the cat, Brian, because I want to say see you Friday to Wolveraza. Flame Hat, the Game Cat. Justin Cassidy. Jazzy J, the Tarot Mage Game Cat. Blow 617. Freeman 1973. Emily Baxter, the hashtag cartoon game kitten. That's so hard to say. Shades of Grey Matter, Twitch and the single player game cat. Bart Cunningham, Mark Pringles Leaf, Guy Sutton fist bump to you. All you are is history. Bob Zarkov, the underground game cat. Night to you. LC2552 beats. So many names. The Sacred Grove, Brax Bro, and as always, in case I don't see you later, good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Pietrek F, thank you so much. Salvador, good to see you. Brax Bro, Neon Grove. I think I've said Brax Bro like 8 times. Neon Groove. Yes.
Get Brax Bro.
More news soon. Blue Jew, the underground game cat elite name squad in the house. Haseeb Mirza, the Sniper Jones. Let's see. Ben Dawson, have a great night. The secrets of you as well. Confusing game cat later to you. Miles Dyer in the house. Snipe, feel better, homie. Mike Kelly, VR. Thank you. I know. PSVR2 is so beautiful. I agree. It's so beautiful. Wonder Rob. Cat heart eyes. Cat heart eyes. Cat heart eyes.
Is that it? You stopped before the end?
Scott Jessica P. We're like the football brother game cat. Jazzy James Terra Mage game cat. All of you guys have a wonderful night. Dare Jotin Joe. He says I've written Colin multiple DMs when he'll finally invite you.
Thank you for that. We appreciate that.
Some support from the kids.
Definitely trying to spread the Without Parole message a little bit further. Trying to finally say yes to people who are asking me to do things, and hopefully you'll see me on a couple other shows that you watch relatively soon. We love you guys so much, and don't forget, Brax Bro.